Hey there, and welcome to Get Career Curious, the podcast that gives you the inside scoop on careers, what it takes to get there, and what the job is actually like. Today's guest is someone truly inspiring, my sister, Pattijean McCahill. With an MBA from Northwestern's Kellogg School of Business and a master's in public administration from Grand Valley State, she's a powerhouse in nonprofit leadership. As the Chief Philanthropy Officer at Feeding America West Michigan, she leads efforts to fight food insecurity through marketing, development, and fundraising. But her path wasn't exactly linear. Pattijean started in the high-pressure world of corporate marketing, managing brands at Sara Lee and navigating the corporate hustle. After years of chasing promotions and paychecks, she had a moment of realization. Is this really it? That question led her to a major career pivot, one that aligned her skills and her purpose. So if you've ever wondered whether it's possible to change careers and find work that truly matters, this episode is for you. Welcome, Pattijean.
Yeah. Hi, Marita. Good to see you.
So you are the Chief Philanthropy Officer at Feeding America West Michigan. And did you always know you wanted that job? What's been your career path?
Actually, it never occurred to me to get into philanthropy until I was 50 years old. So I actually went to Kellogg, the graduate school at Northwestern. And at the time, a lot of my friends were either going to Wall Street or traditional packaged goods marketing, which meant brand management. So that is the route I took. So right out of business school, I was at Sara Lee for 4 years. And about 4 months into the job, I actually said to my coworker, I'm like, is this it? And I'm like, I make the world safe for frozen baked goods. So I would say that I did not pursue the correct career path. And it took me 25 years to course correct. And the reason that happened is because what I learned at Kellogg was phenomenal, and I was really good at strategy and marketing. And then you kind of get caught up in the promotions and the money, and then you're supporting a family. And it just took me until I was laid off during the Great Recession to really take a step back and try to figure out my values as a person and a professional and aligning those values with a career path that I thought was the best fit for me and my skills at the time. And one of the things that I did that I think if people coming out of college or even high school were to do this, it would really benefit them, which is to do a series of assessments. An assessment that was really beneficial to me was called Berkman. And the reason it was beneficial is because it combined my personality traits with my likes and interests. And it kind of guides you with the type of careers that you would be interested in or a best fit for. So, yeah, so I was 50 some years old. And
is that when you took the test?
No, I took that test probably at 40, but I pretty much ignored it because, again, I was a single parent and wanted this lifestyle for myself and my son, which required me to make 6 figures. And I got laid off at 50 and decided, my son was in high school at that time, and I just decided I'm going to work for the next 20 years and I'm going to do something that marries my passion points with my skill set. And so I went back and got a master's in public administration in nonprofit leadership. So in the course of my studies, I became really interested in childhood obesity and the drivers of obesity, which led me to work around food and food systems. And so this position at Feeding America West Michigan came up, and it was great because it was food and food related. And my son and I have lived experience. We experienced food insecurity at the time that I was in my MPA program. So we both utilized SNAP, which is the federal assistance program it's the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also kind of commonly known as food stamps. And then we also used food pantries at a couple of different points in time. So to me, this is the perfect position because I leverage my strategy work, my marketing and communication background, along with the fact that I can empathize with the faces of food insecurity. And the one thing that I wasn't a natural at was development. So I had no formal sales background, but really what development is about are relationships. And so after I kind of reframed what I thought development was, I then pursued additional training around best practices and development. And eventually I built a really nice team of professional fundraisers.
So just to clarify for audience people, when Patty is talking about development, another way to say that would be fundraising. So
yes.
Raising money for Feeding America, West Michigan, correct?
Right. And what a lot of people don't realize coming out of college is fundraising or philanthropy or development. It's a wonderful professional career path.
And why so? Why do you say that?
Because you marry purpose with skill set. So, is your passion animals? And then you have an opportunity to work for a shelter and raise money to be able to do whatever that mission is. So every nonprofit organization is guided by a mission and a vision, and it's just an opportunity to find a cause that's really important to you and then be able to share that passion with your donors and raise money in the meantime.
Your business degree really lended itself very well to this role. And so how does strategy play into your marketing plan and then into fundraising?
Yeah. So I have an annual strategic plan. My team and I set 5 strategic pillars that guide us year over year. And then from there, we all have like action plans, our own individual plan for the year. And so really the marketing and communications is no different in the private sector as it is in the nonprofit sector. So we have brand awareness issues. We need to connect the mission with audiences, whether or not they're donors or not. So our marketing strategy, the principles of doing that are no different than anything I did at any of the packaged goods companies that I worked for.
What's an example of a campaign you've done, and how much money has it raised, and what impact does it have on the community?
Yeah, so every year in September, all of the food banks across the country work on a cause. It's basically called Hunger Action Month, and it's in September. And so there are campaigns at the national level, the Feeding America national level, but then every individual nonprofit does more. So in our case, we have a direct mail campaign around Hunger Action Month that includes a match from a corporation. We do a tremendous amount of social media engagement. We'll have swag and calls to action. So basically, advocacy is also a part of Hunger Action Month. And it's really a call to action to do one thing. whether it is to donate or call your legislator or just learn more about hunger and hunger issues in your community. And then we try to activate at a very local level. So for a couple years, we did a campaign called Hops Against Hunger. Michigan is known for its microbreweries. We're Beer City, USA. And so we have a 40 county service area in Michigan. So it's 40 of Michigan's 83 counties. So I think at one point we had about 15 different microbreweries that were hosting us for a night. And we would have a table and we talk to people and people could donate or take literature. And really it was more about brand building, raising awareness. So we are looking at starting an annual pickleball event during September and hopefully on Hunger Action Day as a way of, again, raising awareness. So the other thing we do is we, send out a press release and hope that gets some traction. In Grand Rapids in particular, we turn the Blue Bridge orange because orange is the color for fighting hunger. And so we will raise maybe $50,000 during the month, but it's really more important about raising awareness around the issue.
Like there's a lot of opportunities for young people, like events like you mentioned. You probably ask for volunteer support or interns. There's a lot of opportunity in this area. What do you look for when you're hiring someone or hiring an intern?
My team right now has an event coordinator, which is totally transferable to a hospitality degree. We've got writers and content creators and social media and visual. And I look for someone who connects with our mission. So if I'm interviewing someone, we always ask, what is it about our organization that appeals to you? And if they say the job opportunity or this is great with my skill set, if they say nothing about the mission, it is not a good fit. So that is like the first thing. So I'll screen for background, education, and then look for fit. And fit has to do with not just skill set, but passion for the mission.
So if someone was starting out and wanted to work in nonprofit, what would be a typical day? Or
sure,
I guess it would depend on the role, but
it depends on the role. So I would say a typical fundraiser would maybe review their portfolio of donors. We're really big into donor stewardship, which means reaching out and trying to deepen that relationship. So it could be a handwritten note card. It could be a phone call. It could be, doing some prospect research as well. Whereas our social media person, and this is a skill set that I think is something that's really important for people to have, is project management. So there are a ton of online tools, like we use Trello. And then Asana, there's a bunch of different social media or project management tools. In any job, they need to be organized. And so our social media person will spend time on Trello, kind of working her marketing calendar and, managing all of her projects, because a lot of what we do in nonprofits is collaborative. So the content writer and the social media person may be organizing to go to a pantry to do interviews. But then our grants team may need an interview in a specific county for a funder. So there's a lot of collaboration, and that happens throughout the day.
Oh, that sounds super fun.
Yeah, it is.
It does sound fun. And what would you say is your favorite part of your job?
My team. I would say number one is my team and the ability to have a very diverse group of people coalesce. I mean, we have every generation represented on my team, and there's lots of differences between generations, and it's about taking us to the next level. So that would be one. And then secondly is sharing the mission. You know, I feel our team is a conduit to us being able to get food to our neighbors experiencing hunger. So if we don't raise our $6 or $8 million, we can't run the operations of the organization. And they are the direct line to getting food to people who really need it.
For you, you enjoy working to serve your constituents. And what if you're advising someone coming out of college or even out of high school, just kind of considering what they should do for a living, and you've played in both the corporate space and the nonprofit, how would you compare the two? Obviously, there's a large financial, like salary discrepancy.
Yeah, I think in the private sector or corporate sector, there's more pressure. And there's a lot of demands. I mean, if you're a publicly held company, you are there to drive shareholder value. So all the way through, like if there's an earnings report, you know, your job may directly impact whether or not you can report positive results to Wall Street. So it's a pressure cooker. At least I've worked for 3 publicly held companies. The pressure is real. In the nonprofit sector, from my perspective, more collaborative, more purposeful, and people feel good about what they're doing for a living.
And so I think that's a very cool aspect of the job, is that you can go home every day knowing you made a difference in a lot of people's lives, which fuels you even to be more passionate, you know, to even spend more hours at work.
Yeah.
You can definitely see the direct tie to what you do.
So there's somewhat of a misnomer that nonprofits are not it's not as difficult of work. And it is very challenging at times. We are a logistics organization. We have a fleet of 35 trucks. And so depending on the nonprofit, there's lots of different opportunities. You don't need to have a college degree. You know, if you are interested in logistics, our chief operating officer is 36 years old and started out as a picker. There's tons of opportunity to get hands-on experience and then grow depending on your skill set. So it's great to have a college degree. I've got a couple people on my team that don't, you know.
So there's a little more of an open door policy in terms of promotion within. So if you were to start in the organization in any capacity and you proved yourself, it's something that you can continue to grow. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. So I've had 2 staff members. They both happen to be grant writers. It was more of an entry-level job, like their first professional job. And they both were in the position like 18 to 24 months. And one woman's, it turned out her phenomenal skill set is project management. We promoted her to be a project manager, and she's like thriving. Was she a great grant writer? Absolutely. But that's not where she wanted to be long term. And then the other person was a data geek, and now he is thriving and has transformed the information that we have, but also the interpretation, and he's developed unique tools.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yay. I love hearing stories like that. Go want an internship in the summer, or just to kind of dip their toe into nonprofit. I mean, what advice do you have for them?
Yeah, I would say they need to contact the organization, find the right person, and it could be human resources, or it could be like the marketing communication manager. and write a thoughtful and articulate reason for why you want to work at that organization, and then be persistent. It's not just an email. It's an email and a phone call. It's an email and, hey, this is going to be a great project. I think this is what I want to do for my career. Help me out. I never turned down the opportunity to talk with someone who is interested in the nonprofit sector.
Okay, that's great. How is the field evolving, or how are you seeing it evolve with the immersion of AI? Are you seeing any changes beyond like just, ChatGPT for marketing, but even in your logistics work or in development?
So I'm actually going to a marketing conference hosted by Feeding America, the national network, on the use of AI. Our grants team is fundamentally opposed to AI because they're all writers, right? And they feel like it is important to generate original content. I, on the other hand, actually use it because, and it's for ideas. Like if I have a new program coming up, I will do research on how are other food banks doing with recurring donors, or give me ideas for recurring donor programs. And it's basically an idea generation tool for me. But the other thing I want to do, I want to forecast our business for the next 5 years. So I am going to be dabbling in using it as a forecasting tool. And I'm going to work with a data person to make sure that I'm using it correctly. So our marketing and communication team, at this point, they're pretty purist and do all generate original content. So the flip side is like digital marketing, not so much AI, but the advent in digital marketing and analytics tools have really been a game changer for the nonprofit sector.
How so? Like, what's an example?
Yeah. So Google has a Google grant program for nonprofits, and we can bid up to a magic number of, say, like $35,000 a month, and we on certain keywords. When I came in 10 years ago, it was not even in my consideration set. SEO optimization is brand new. The sophistication in email marketing tools is huge. And now, like geo-targeting for ads, like all of that is brand new to my team in the past 4 years. And I've relied on our direct marketing partner to do a lot of that. And we're hoping to bring that skill set in-house.
So would that be something that might give you a competitive edge as someone who's pretty talented at digital marketing or SEO? And are those skills that nonprofits in general are seeking?
Absolutely.
In terms of all nonprofits? Okay.
The marketing and communication as a function, brand management as a function is literally, it's a pretty much a one-to-one. The difference in development is that sales skills are really helpful. It's relationship focused. It's really being donor centric. It's not about closing the sale. It's about the relationship and providing mission moments.
So it sounds like your MBA really transferred super well to the nonprofit world. What about your MBA?
Yeah. If people were interested, say they're in college, most colleges have public administration programs. And it is a definite degree. So like the best school in the country is Indiana University. Their School of Philanthropy is by far the number one program in the country. If I were to do it all over again, I'd get my MPA from IU.
How is that degree different? Like, what are you going over that's different than business school? Like, what
So
are
a lot of them. So strategy is the same. The marketing is the same, but what's different is like board governance and fundraising as a discipline. So there are different ways to approach fundraising. You could have depth of experience in legacy giving and plan giving. So there are a lot of different career paths that are unique to nonprofits.
Is that primarily a master's program or are there undergraduate programs?
Both.
Like if someone knew going out of high school, I definitely want to go to the nonprofit world, what would be a good area for them to study?
So public administration, almost every school, it's primarily the degree is public administration. And like Grand Valley, where I went, they have both an undergraduate and a graduate program.
Okay. So what career advice would you give to someone just kind of considering their path? And maybe it's not they want to go to college, or maybe they do. So, what advice do you have for that person?
I was more impulsive around this job is available, so therefore I'm going to take it. And, you're a Division I athlete, you need to go into sales. I'm a huge believer in assessments. So even at the high school level, I would use that as a tool. And in high school, I'd connect with your guidance counselor, and even in college, the placement office or the career center is hugely underutilized. Like those people can help guide you. My guidance counselor in high school said, you should pursue a math degree or, do quantum physics. I'm like, I suck at that. So I think even at the high school level, you kind of have an idea of what you're good at. And like if you're great with your hands and you love to build, I'd go to trade school or talk to someone, talk to an adult, talk to a teacher. And I believe in tuning into your gut. And if you are saying, dogs and cats are where I want to be, then, if you have a heart for a cause or like the environment, that could lead you a lot of different ways. And so I would just make the time to talk to people and think through your decisions.
Yeah, that's super advice.
Thanks.
Super. All right, one last question. What do you think, what is the coolest part of your job that most people probably don't know?
Connecting with neighbors, no doubt. So I talk a lot about mission moments. We have a food distribution that I went to recently. Actually, it was right around Thanksgiving. And I was able to take food boxes to cars of people and talk with them and really get a better sense for who they are as people. And it is the best part of what we do is serving our neighbors in need.
That's so great. Yeah, I remember I saw you this summer and you were just walking around town in your Feeding America West Michigan shirt and someone came up to you and started talking. It's a very beloved organization in Grand Rapids area. It just brings happiness to everyone when, they're associated with it. So it's good to see. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's been great.
Thank you for joining us today. Our goal is to help listeners discover meaningful careers that bring them joy and purpose. If you have a friend who might benefit from today's discussion with Pattijean, please share this episode with them. Want even more career insights? Join our community at getcareercurious.com for exclusive content and behind-the-scenes access of this podcast that you won't find anywhere else. You will find links and additional information about career assessments mentioned in this episode on the resources pages of the Get Career Curious website. Thank you again for joining me, Pattijean McCahill, in this episode of Get Career Curious. I'll see you next time.